Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this all red skull makeup look. But before we begin, really quick, don't forget to follow me on all my other social media channels. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't yet, and also like this video before you leave. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, first things first, we moisturize. I am using my premium skincare retinol moisturizer. Reminder, everything that I'm using and wearing on this video will be linked down below on that description box. From there, we're going to prime the skin so it's nice and smooth. I am using my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Face Primer. Then foundation, so we can start with a clean canvas. You know which foundation I'm going to be using. It's my L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear 24-Hour Foundation. Then we're going to do concealer, starting with my L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer on the under eyes and sides of the nose, just wherever I have darkness and want to add some extra coverage. And then from there, we're going to highlight the face. I'm going to be using my e.l.f. 14-Hour Camo Concealer for this. I'm using it on the inner and outer corners of the eyes, forehead, Cupid's bow, and the chin, just the center of the face. I'm adding a generous amount because if you look at skull makeup overall, the way that they're colored, the lightest colors are always in the center. So this is also helping us already start the shading process of the skull. Same thing with our contour. I'm using my iconic London multi-use sculpting palette, which is used and abused as you can see, and I'm shaping the face with this. I'm adding contour to the temples, the cheekbones, jaw, and sides of the nose, and just blending everything out nicely. Here, I just felt that the contour went a little bit too far down on the sides of the cheeks, so I added some light contour to that area. And while we're here working with our creams, we're going to go ahead and cover the brows with our light concealer, the same one that we used earlier, the e.l.f. one. We're going to be coloring our brows red in a little bit, so we want to lighten them with concealer first. That way the red is more noticeable. And that's all we're gonna do with our cream products. Now it's time to set them all in place with some powder. So I'm using my OPV Beauty Loose Setting Powder to just powder the entire face. I really want to emphasize this step because it's really important. You're gonna be coloring on top of this powder and you want your final design to stay put, especially if you're going to be wearing it for a long time. You don't want it to sweat or move. So this is an important step. You want to be generous with the amount of powder that you use. Otherwise, if your skin starts to get oily, your final design is going to start to rub off. And of course, we don't want that. We don't want all of our beautiful work to get ruined. Okay, so from there, because we did lose the color of our contour a little bit, we're gonna go in with a powder bronzer. I'm using my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer and just bronzing up the face, adding color back to the face. And speaking of color, we're going to start coloring the brows, and I'm going to be using the red eyeshadow from the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Eyeshadow Palette Volume 2. Any red eyeshadow will do. I am using an angled brow brush and just coloring in the brows red and shaping them the way that you normally would. This process takes time, so just keep adding and packing on color as much as you need to really make that red pop. And once you're done coloring those in, you're gonna take some of your lights concealer again. I'm using the e.l.f. one again, using a small flat brush, and I'm gonna carve the brows. I'm carving underneath the brows to make sure that the brow bone is nice and clean. All right, so once we're here, let's start the design of our skull. I'm going to be using this body paint. It's called the CCBeauty Professional Face Body Paint Kit. I got it on Amazon and I've gotten some pretty good use out of it throughout the years. A lot of my character makeup has been done using this palette. Okay, so I'm starting out at the temples, and you can just follow along from here with what I'm doing. The main thing to remember with any part of this design is that for every little part of it, you're gonna start out coloring with a red body paint, and then you set it in place using your red eyeshadow. So I'm starting out with this design on the temples, then I'm gonna do the design on the nose. This part is especially important to set with powder with your eyeshadow because at least for me, my nose gets really oily really fast. So the more powder that I use, the more it's gonna stay put. From there, we moved on to the eyes, trace the shape of the eye, and then just fill it in. For this design process, I'm gonna do a lot of time lapses, and like I said, you can just follow along as you go. This is the very first time that I do a full skull face makeup look ever. I said this on my Instagram, but I've always done half faces only because I was too much of a chicken to do a full face. Too nervous, too scared. The toughest challenge for me is always symmetry and really working to make sure that our final look is as symmetrical as possible. I still have work to do on that area. It's still a challenge, and also another challenge for me is just making sure that I put in the time to add all of the detail work needed. It's really easy to lose patience or to get tired after an hour or two, but the more details that you add, the better it's gonna look. It's what's gonna make your looks even better. Also, the number one thing that I've learned with makeup over time is patience. I'm normally not a very patient person, but makeup's truly helped me in that sense. Okay, so once I was ready to start on the bottom half of the look, I did go in with a brow pencil to sketch in the design first before going in with paint. This was super helpful because it's not an easy design to do, number one, but it helped me again with my symmetry. The brow pencil is really easy to wipe off if you need to as you go. It's much easier than if you were to just go in with a body paint first. And once I was ready to go in with paint, I did that. Also, as you can see, I'm using different kinds of brushes throughout this process. You can just get a feel as to what you need. If you need to blend out large areas, you switch to a larger brush. Smaller areas will require pencil brushes or small flat brushes. Then on the mouth design, I grabbed my beauty blender and just covered my mouth with concealer so we would have a blank surface to do our teeth work on top of. And then I also wanted to do some powder highlights on the face. So I grabbed my NYX Cosmetics Highlight and Contour Palette and I added some highlights to the areas that I wanted to make pop. As you can see, it's subtle. It's something very subtle, but adding things like this to the high points of the cheeks, it really makes it stand out. It's all in the details to take your work again to the next level. And then here I'm taking a tiny brush with concealer and just going on top of the teeth. I felt like they weren't popping as much as I wanted to, so I went in with that to really define them. And then these graphic lines is just an extra detail that I wanted to add to our skull. And then here I'm just doing eyeshadow all over the eye to set it. And once our face design was done, I felt like this look needed long, luscious hair. So I grabbed my When Alive hair extensions and added them. Don't forget that I do have a code with them for 10% off. It's going to be on screen. I've been using these extensions a lot and styling them with high heat. I've been putting them through the ringer. I wanted to do that to really test them out, and they've held up so well. So check them out. I really love them. They'll be linked also in that description box below. And after that, I added this flower crown that I made for this look. I have a tutorial for it that I'm gonna upload as a YouTube short. It's also gonna be on my TikTok or Instagram, so check it out there if you wanna see how I made it. And yeah, with our crown in place, this look was complete. I have to tell you, I am so happy and proud of myself with how this turned out. I love this look so much and it makes me so happy to see it. Let me know your thoughts thoughts in that comment section down below, or if you have any questions on anything regarding the process, let me know in those comments. Again, all of the products that are used are going to be linked down below. Some of those will be affiliate links, so I do earn a small commission out of them, which helps me support the work that I'm doing here on this channel across social media. You don't have to use those links, but they're gonna be there for you if you would like. Again, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, share it, all of those things. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, and I will see you on my next one. Bye guys.